Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be talking about transhumanism while playing some decrepit hat game that never gets updated. And the reason for that is I realized despite my channel name, I've almost never talked about transhumanism anymore. It's been I think over a year since I've done a response video on the subject. And so I figure it might be nice to do a casual gaming session and discuss this interesting concept on the forefront of science. So what is transhumanism? Well, as of right now, it's more of a philosophy than a practice. The technology that I think people would consider truly transhumanistic simply does not exist yet or isn't available to the public in any meaningful way, which essentially means it might as well not exist at all. I mean, after all, what good is the perfect self-driving car that's able to go down any road if only one of them exists and it's just a prototype some company is working on? This is Now, the thing about transhumanism is, at its core, it's about using science and technology to improve upon the human being. And this is something that's been going on for about as long as civilization has been going on. If these strange, hairless monkey men are running around in an area too frigid, too cold to easily survive in, they figured out how to kill animals and turn their fur and hide into something to wear in order to insulate themselves. If you're myopic, you can wear glasses in order to improve your vision, something not even remotely natural that was added to you in order to overcome a flaw of nature. If your organs are failing, there's medicines, there's surgeries, there's even the possibility of getting an organ transplant. That's something that will simply never happen in the natural world. It's one of the incredible distinctions between mankind and every other living thing on the planet. We're capable of surgery. We've made it so that when you cut somebody up, it does not necessarily mean that they're going to die. But I don't think anyone would reasonably argue that because they're wearing clothes, because they wear glasses or have had surgery, they're really transhumanists. And they aren't. I'm just pointing out that the concept of using science and tech to overcome the problems of nature isn't something new or wild or anything like that. Now, the way I define transhumanist tech and procedures are things that are not naturally occurring, that at least get someone to the level of a normal human being. So, for example, one of the very promising technologies on the forefront of medical science is CRISPR gene editing, which among the promises it has is being able to correct any horrible genetic maladies that someone could be born with. Cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, progeria. The list goes on and on when it comes to how fucked up someone could end up being because of even a single mutation. But with CRISPR gene editing, it could be possible to screen pregnant women for their kids' genetic makeup and detect these issues, as right now we are capable of doing that. We're capable of doing that for things like Down syndrome. And many women, I think especially in like Sweden, would opt to get an abortion if the kid tests positive for that unfortunate genetic issue. But what if the option wasn't have a kid who will never live a full and complete and normal life and get an abortion? What if there was a third option of, alright, can we do a CRISPR procedure in order to correct that? Why if... I just want to talk about fucking transhumanism and these fucking bots. You're ruining it. You're making improvements in technology look worse. You're going against narrative. But what if there was a third option of doing a CRISPR procedure in order to ensure the kid doesn't have Down syndrome and is able to live a normal life? I think there's many women who would very much appreciate that. Whether or not they're pro-choice, getting an abortion tends to be seen as a necessary evil and not something that, well, I guess if you're not pro-choice, it's not a necessary evil, it's just evil. But if you are pro-choice, it tends to be seen more as a necessary evil than something to be actively enthusiastic about. Now, CRISPR, of course, wouldn't be able to solve all problems of pregnancy, just a possibility of genetic maladies, so it's definitely not going to be a complete replacement for abortions, but it will surely help a lot of people who are struggling with whether or not they should keep a kid, weighing the pros and cons of themselves, of their future child, whether they want to put themselves and the kid through such an existence. But the point is, CRISPR would exist to get somebody to a basic human level. Someone with cystic fibrosis to the level of someone who doesn't have it. Someone with sickle cell anemia to the level of someone who doesn't have it. Alternatively, it could also be used to get somebody beyond the limits of a human being. Let's say that I lose an arm and I get a prosthetic in its place. And let's say that this prosthetic isn't anything fancy. It can't like rotate its hand 360 degrees or extend its fingers or whatever. But it has like the same sensation capabilities as my natural hand, able to detect the same amount of texture, pressure, heat, that stuff. And it has the same dexterity. It's able to move its fingers as quickly and such as my normal hand, and it's able to withstand the same sort of wear and tear and environmental variables as my normal hand. Even if it is only as spectacular in usage as a regular hand, it will still be better for the fact that its materials will likely be way more durable than flesh and bone. And if it's damaged, even severely, it would be a matter of replacing parts or just outright replacing the hand. Whereas an organic limb, if it's damaged severely, it might just not be usable anymore for the rest of your life and could even become a major hindrance to you, something that produces constant pain. But of course, you'll rarely find a transhumanist who's satisfied with just, yep, my robot hand can do what my organic hand was once able to. They would want the hand to be able to spin 360 degrees. They would want the fingers to be able to elongate or move at speeds far faster than what could normally be done. And the question isn't why, but why not? The only reason we're limited in such ways is because evolution just didn't produce such abilities. And the reason evolution didn't produce such abilities is because, contrary to what many people assume, it is not a grand march toward perfection. It's a drunken stumble to, good enough. See you, Spee. And because of the limitations of biology, the shortcomings and pitfalls that leads to suffering, the aforementioned various genetic ailments being a prime example. Now, other than genetic engineering and prosthetic organs, there's also the potential to, for example, make you far smarter than you possibly could be as a normal human being. Maybe there'll be some medical technology that would attach to your brain or even replace parts of your brain that will be better at absorbing and utilizing information. I'm pretty sure anyone who's gone to school wishes there was some special technology they could utilize to make math a whole lot easier. And you know what? Maybe one day there will be. But outside of decreasing the suffering caused by nature, why is transhumanism a good thing? And I think one of the biggest reasons is that it will help us adjust and persevere through the ever increasingly difficult challenges we face as a species. As far as I'm concerned, our destiny, we don't actually have one, but our metaphorical destiny is not to continue to squander ourselves on this shitty blue rock, but instead to explore the cosmos. And we will be better equipped to do that if we're smarter, more durable, if spending extended periods of time in space didn't mean our muscles would wither away, and our bones will become more fragile, and our sight will become shittier. But the only way we're going to achieve that isn't through the desperate exercises that astronauts have to do when spending extended periods of time in space, but through improving the human body itself. As a globalized society, something that goes on the other side of the planet can affect what goes on over here. I don't know if you were paying attention in 2020, but someone in China fucked up really bad, and 50 or 500,000 American citizens plus are now dead. If we were smarter, we would be able to account for the different variables that goes on with the vast machinations of multiple societies working in unison, or I guess more accurately in conjunction with each other, or simultaneously as one another. If a problem does arise, we will be better equipped to solve it. How fast would a vaccine have been developed if we had absolutely supreme intelligence compared to what we have right now? And who knows, maybe the better we are as people in terms of what we're capable of and what we're no longer limited by, the better societies will be, because suffering does tend to lead to strife. Limitations do tend to lead to conflict. Every war has essentially been one of resources or ideology, both of which I think would be fairly well solved by making people less dependent on specific resources and making people far smarter that they can better understand what the hell they're doing. And of course, if we ever do manage to become a truly stellar species, and we can say goodbye to resource-based issues, because we would have effectively unlimited resources. Like, space is really fucking big, and there's a lot of stuff up there. So yes, improving upon human beings is a good idea. And nature can only do so much. You can only become so strong, you can only go so fast, you can only become so smart, and a lot of that is simply beyond your control. There's many genetic factors behind strength, speed, intelligence, basically all the things that would make a man spectacular. There's some genetic component, so sometimes it's just a matter of, sorry asshole, maybe if your dad fucked your mom on a different day, a different sperm would have won, and you would have been a different, better person. Or a worse person. So that's like another major thing. Nature is simply unfair. Some people are born better than others. Some people are born able to absorb mathematical concepts like their lungs absorb oxygen. And some people are not. Some people will never be mathematically or scientifically inclined. Some people will be able to run faster than any other human being in the entire fucking country. But most people won't. No matter how much they train, no matter how much they exercise, no matter how much of their all they put into being able to do that, it'll never come to pass. But with transhumanism, it can end up being a great equalizer, at least close a gap. Unfortunately, I don't think the technology needed to do that is here yet. We're still trying to reach that, let's get the disabled people at the level of a regular non-dysfunctional human being. Get the fuck out of there, spy. But I think the more the technology is introduced and improved, the faster we'll get to that wonderful point. And when we do, I think we'll see a major decrease in the amount of hardship and suffering we face as a species. Now, of course, there's multiple different factors beyond transhumanism. The entire genre of cyberpunk shows that even better technology does not automatically lead to a better society, but I think that's a discussion for another time. Now, hopefully, in the future, if we do have this better tech, for me at least, I hope that there's technology that allows me to understand more things faster and be able to apply it better, because I am very interested in learning as much as I can. I hope there's technology that might even allow somebody to, like, rapidly or instantaneously become an expert at a skill. Like, imagine if there's some brain augment that will allow you to become like a brilliant artist. In a matter of days, hours, minutes, who knows? And some people might argue, well, isn't learning how to make great art like a big part of the journey? Isn't there still value in that? Not really, no. The reason people learn how to make great art is because it's not automatic. It's not something they can, like, press a button and is instantly downloaded into their brain. And what I find is that a lot of the arguments against improving the human body comes from a sort of cope related to the fact that there is no alternative. Anti-aging technology. People think, no, there's wonder and beauty and meaning in growing old. There's no other option but to grow old, other than dying young. How's about waiting until there is an alternative that's actually good before deciding that no, nature actually got it right the first time? And the same thing here. I mean, is there a single musician out there who, when they wanted to, like, let me put it this way, like, when you learn how to play an instrument, when you decide, hey, I'm gonna learn how to play the piano, are you imagining yourself, like, you know, trying to figure out the different keys, playing the simplest tunes to get accustomed to the instrument? Or are you imagining yourself, like, being fucking Elton John and just having absolute proficiency in the instrument? Or if you decide you want to work on art, or write a book, or anything like that, what you're going to imagine is the pinnacle, the height of what you want to achieve. And alas, nature, with a rare few exceptions from these savants who were fortunate enough to have a decent roll of the genetic RNG game, isn't going to allow you to do that as quickly as you probably would want. Well, if nature isn't able to do the work, if nature is going to be too lazy, too inclined to take the path of least resistance, too inefficient, too cruel by nature of its utter apathy to human suffering, then it will be up to man to take control, and we'll be better off because of it. Right now, more people are able to live than ever before. More people die of obesity-related problems than they do of starvation these days. More people die of old age than ever have before. Human beings taking the reins, yes, it often leads to many great problems. We're facing a massive ecological crisis. But the only way we're going to solve those problems is not by going backwards or abandoning progress, but by progressing more and doing better the next time. And that is exactly what transhumanism is. It's going forward. It's deciding, hey, what nature has limited us to is not good enough. We're going to take control, and we're going to solve many of the problems that were previously unsolvable. Things we had to cope with, things we had to despair about, things that simply could not be undone, could not be corrected. We're going to fix, and we'll be better off because of it. So that's, I think, enough discussing this for now. It's more of a general overview, but I would like to discuss some more specific aspects of it later on. So I hope you enjoyed the video, that I gave you something to think about and otherwise entertained you. Take care.